Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to art class with Mr. Mazer. This week, we're going to read the book The Shape of My Heart by Mark Sparing. The Shape of My Heart. This is the shape that we are, the shape of you and me. This is the shape of our eyes, and these are the shapes we might see. This is the shape of the sun, coming up to brighten our day. And these are the shapes that chirp and tweet and flitter away. This is the shape of our mouths. Now, what would you like to eat? Something hot or something cold? Something savory or something sweet? This is the shape of my shoes, and this is the shape of your feet. And these are the shapes that pass us by on a noisy, busy street. This is the shape of my hand, the hand you hold on to. Where are we going, and what will we see? Let's look at the shapes at the zoo. This is the shape I hear you with. Let's be on our way. And this is the shape we come back to at the very end of the day. This is the shape of the pillow where you lay your sleepy head. And this is the shape of the toy that you cuddle up with in bed. This is the shape of the moon. And these are the shapes of the stars. And this is the shape I love you with. This is the shape of my heart. That is the end. So I thought that would be a good story for us to read because we included hearts in our artworks last week, and there were some birds in here, which is what we made last week as well. So this week, we're going to be painting our birds, and we're going to be creating a tint to create our birds, and we're also going to add some more shapes to our background. Hopefully you were inspired by the story and you saw some good shapes that you want to include. Now, if you're at home and don't have paint, you can feel free to color your bird in with anything you have available: crayons, color pencil, marker, watercolor paint, whatever mom and dad say is okay, go for it. But if you're at school, we are going to be using paint, and you're going to get a little plate like this, which is going to have blue and white and magenta, a reddish color, and white. Now, we are going to paint our bird with a tint of blue, and we're going to add things to our background with either the magenta and white or both of those together and white, which will also be tints. Now, a tint, if you can see that, a tint is when you take a color and you add white to it to make it a lighter version of that color. And I made the most famous tint of all, which is pink, and pink is actually a tint of red. The way you make pink is you add white to red, and you get pink. So we already learned of our primary colors and how we can mix those to create secondary colors. So for example, mixing red and yellow to make orange, red and blue to make purple, blue and yellow to make green. Today we're gonna make some tints. So we're gonna take our brush and scoop up our blue, mix it with our white to create a nice, beautiful tint of blue. Excuse me. Now, if you mix that up and you think it looks good, you're more than welcome to use that to paint your bird. Now, if you want a darker tint, you can add a little more blue. There's all sorts of different tints you can make. But today, we're gonna mix the blue and the white to create a nice light blue, and that's how we're gonna paint our bird. Now, when we paint, what's very important, so you're gonna hold your brush like a pencil. So, if you hold your pencil like this and try to write, you're not gonna be able to control very well where it goes. Same way, if you hold it like this, you're not gonna have very good control of how you fill it in. But if you hold it like a pencil, and I showed you when we color, we take our 3 fingers here and we make a kind of pinching shape with them and hold it like that, and you can have very good control over where your brush goes. So I got my paint, so I'm gonna paint my bird in here. Now the way that I like to paint is I like to take my brush and drag it along the edge very slowly. And sometimes I like to move my paper around so I can get a better angle at where my brush goes. But I always like to do the outside edges first and then smooth out that paint so it looks nice and beautiful. And I'm gonna paint here. I'm gonna add a little bit more paint to my brush, and I'm gonna go around here. Now we wanna be very careful that we're not painting over too much of our black. We don't wanna cover up the wings or the edge of my bird, so we're gonna paint around those things. So I'm gonna fill in all this space with my lovely blue tint. Now after that's done, we're going to paint some shapes into our backgrounds. Now before we do that, I'm gonna put my brush down and I'm gonna draw those shapes very lightly with my pencil. I think I'm gonna do some circles, and I think maybe I'll do another heart or two. And if you forgot how to draw a heart, remember we did a half circle and another half circle, and then like the letter V, just like that. So if I want to use my blue, I can wipe my brush on that paper plate, dip my brush in the blue here. Now maybe I'm going to paint my circle up here blue. Now I'm going to, maybe I want to use some of that space on my plate. I'm gonna mix a little blue with a little bit of this magenta and see what happens. Mix them together, and hopefully you can see that blue and that red color. Magenta is very close to red. That made a purple. So now I have a beautiful purple color I can use. So I'm gonna paint this heart in purple. So I'm gonna paint my edge first and then fill it in. Now also, if I just wanna have a plain old magenta, I can wipe my brush, wipe all that paint off, maybe dip into the magenta here. Maybe I'll paint this little heart here. Beautiful. So that is it for this week, boys and girls. So we're going to mix our blue and white to create a lovely tint to paint in our bird. And then we're also going to add some extra shapes to our background. And you can use either the blue or the blue and white, or the magenta and white and make a pink, or blue and magenta to make a purple. Have fun mixing up those colors, and we'll see you next time.